What is up, fight fans? Welcome to another episode of For Fight's Sakes. Today, we're diving straight into the highly anticipated fight between Sean Strickland and Dricus Du Plessis. To help me break it down, I've got none other than Ryan Alcock, and I've got Tabang Lintwala on the other side. What is up, fellas?
Let's go. What's happening, people? Happy New Year. Happy New Year.
Thank you, guys.
Happy New Year. Hey, Happy New Year to everyone watching as well. Gentlemen, it's about that time. This is when we find out if the hype is real. Right? But there's no one more deserving of this opportunity than him at this point. He's proved himself time and time again. And Dricus Du Plessis is a very, very violent gentleman in the ring. We know Sean Strickland is the same. We know we're about to find a brawl. We know that there's going to be fireworks in that octagon. But more so, I want to hear from you guys. We'll dive into the predictions as we go. But where do you guys see? Let's start with Sean Strickland. What do you see as his strong points in this match coming in? I'll start with Ryan. Let's hear.
Yeah, so Sean Strickland, look, he's got a very basic style, but what works for him well, and it showed very much so in the Adesanya fight, is his forward pressure. He just stays on top of guys and puts the pressure on until they break. Because as he's shown, other than maybe Pereira, he can take what the guys give him. So he just stands there and he just doesn't go away, no matter how much they hit him, how much they move around. So it really puts pressure on them, and guys start to melt. Like we saw Adesanya start to melt after the first round. So that may be a key to victory for Sean Strickland, is he has to have the forward pressure.
You know, I'll say this.
Tabang, what do you think?
I'll say this. A lot of people, including me, didn't see this fight coming. Right?
That's for sure.
After Pereira, I counted Strickland out. You know, when it came to Adesanya, I was like, okay, no, light work. You know, so I kind of put a therefore in this whole situation. Right? That one beat that one, so it's a given. Now, this fight, man, I don't know, because I never expected it, so I really don't know. But Sean has proven himself against Adesanya, I think, as a forward fighter. But he's got another thing coming, a totally different fighter. So we'll see.
I think his strongest point coming into this is his defense, right? We've noticed that he's one of those guys that can go back to the camp, listen to what the coach says to him, and actually implement it properly. We saw it with the Adesanya fight. He said that this guy is a one-trick pony. I don't know how true that is, but he said once you figure him out, you've got him. You've got his key, right? So I think he's going to want to go back in and actually look at where he can get Dricus instead of actually trying to go in and brawl. I think we'll see Sean Strickland similar to the one we saw with Adesanya, who waits to counter more than actually goes in, because he knows, and we know, or at least I know, that Dricus will be coming in and laying it on thick. I think Dricus is going to have center octagon the most of the time. He's going to be the aggressor. So Sean, I think, is going to be looking at firstly stopping those takedown defenses, those takedowns, because the more logical thing to do is, as Dricus, is to take him down, right? So trying to avoid those, but at the same time trying to avoid that barrage of damn straight punches that Dricus just flipping offloads every single time, right? So that's where I think his defense is going to be his strongest point. coming into this, because we know and we saw that he's capable of defending against top kickboxers like Israel Adesanya. Unfortunately, he didn't fare well with someone like Pereira, but Izzy is as good as they come. So
Yeah.
I think his defense is his strongest point at this point, and obviously his stand-up going into this. But yeah.
In recent weeks, we've seen Dricus come in and get Sean worked up far more than we've ever seen him get worked up before.
Sean said he's gonna stab him.
Yeah, I saw an interview where Sean said when he brawled with Dricus in the crowd, he said for a split second he thought about biting Dricus's ear. Oh man, yeah, the crazy.
And that's another thing. That's another thing, gents. We've already had a pre-fight, right? This is Dricus, Sean Strickland 2, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. This is round 2, but yeah.
Dricus is already.
Say that like.
Yeah, Dricus is 0 for 1 going into this weekend.
Oh, so you rate Sean Strickland got the better of him that night?
Yeah, he did.
No. Dricus won.
He did, man.
Dricus got the better of that one.
How?
Come on, Ryan.
How?
Come on, Ryan. I mean, Sean Strickland was on top of him most of the time. Yes, he didn't land much, but
no.
That's my boy. That's Dricus is my boy. Like big, but like, come on, we gotta be honest, bro.
Video again. Go watch that video again. He goes in, he throws a few punches. Dricus double legs him down, and then starts throwing shots at him. But that's not the win I'm talking about. I'm not talking about in a fighting sense.
Sure.
Dricus won because he got to feel how hard Strickland hits, what he feels like when he grabbed his hips. And I think he took away a lot from that, because now he knows, okay, this is what it's going to be like when Sean hits me. Okay. It didn't bother me too much on a night when I wasn't prepared for it. So when he is prepared, he's going to eat those shots, no problem. And if that takedown is any indication, if Dricus gets Sean down, this fight will be over. I can promise you that. You'll see. When Dricus hits the mat, like we saw it with a little bit with Robert Whittaker. Whittaker hit one takedown, felt what Dricus was like on the bottom, and he's decided, I don't want any part of this anymore. He never even attempted another takedown.
Okay. No, I still stuck at the grabbing hips thing. Anyway.
Yeah.
Come on,
Okay, guys.
I heard you saying that you kind of ruled him out when he was fighting Pereira. But to be honest, I kind of started ruling him out when he lost to Cannonier, right?
I disagree in a sense, because Jared Cannonier is a very well-rounded guy. He can wrestle, he can strike, he's in really good condition. And he's more of an athlete than a fighter. So for him, it's just, all right, this is the plan. We go and we execute the plan. Obviously, that doesn't work.
So this is where I'm going, right? Cool, Adesanya was more of a kickboxer, but like you just said, Cannonier was more of a well-rounded fighter, and we believe that Dricus is also as much of a well-rounded fighter as they come, right?
Yeah, oh yeah, and he hits, as we've said, very, very hard.
See, that guy punches through you, bro. He punches, yes.
Yeah, because if you look at the shots that he's knocked all the opponents he's knocked out with those shots, they don't look like a lot, right? Like they're landing more or less clean, but it's not big shots that he's throwing all of himself into. But when he lands, oh man, guys just go down. And and that's part of the big issue that I think you're going to see Sean Strickland have, because he's not going to be able to put the same kind of pressure on Dricus that he did Adesanya or the previous guys. And I think look, if he was smart, he most likely learned from the Pereira fight that the guys with big power, you can't just walk them down.
Mm.
So if he's smart, he learned from that, and he's not going to try it. But at the same time, if he doesn't, I don't know how he beats Dricus. Something I've heard from some of the guys in the training room from Dricus is like when he gets a grip on people's neck, guys can start to panic because his squeeze is insane. Like guys just don't understand. I mean, a friend of mine that trained with Dricus, many years ago already, he said like and this friend of mine's a black belt. He's competed in jiu-jitsu and all that stuff. And he says when he rolls with Dricus, like his strength is just ridiculous. And my mate's a big guy. I mean, he's competed in the European ADCCs and at heavyweight.
Sure.
So you must know, for a guy like that to think that Dricus's power is ridiculous, it's just like.
And he's in Canada now, huh? Dricus.
Yeah. I think they got there last week.
Yeah.
But I think that's good, just to acclimatize to the weather and the time zone a bit more.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I think that'll work out well for him. Jeez, man, I must say I'm excited.
Yeah, fellas.
Like, despite all the technical stuff we talked about, this is so huge for South African MMA.
Yeah.
And really for African MMA in general.
100%. That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah, Dricus is going in there. He's gonna prove you don't have to go to America or Europe or Australia or wherever else to get training good enough to not only make it to the UFC, but become a contender. And when he wins on Saturday night, he's going to become a champion as well. We'll have our first African champion that is born, living, and training in Africa.
He's starting with that shit. That's not the fight, man. That's not the fight.
Man. That's not the fight. That's not the fight. But we are nonetheless backing our boy all the way. Like we said from previous episodes, we don't care who sees themselves as African or whatever, as long as you're doing it for the right reasons and you feel as though you want to represent where you come from and you feel that you're from Africa because you have descent from there or you live there. For the most part, you are African, you have African in you. So we will back you up throughout. I have no doubt that it's not just South Africa that is backing our boy, but I know for sure, even if it was a guy coming from Cameroon or for example, your Francis Ngannou's, we were backing him regardless of the fact that he's not from South Africa, but the fact that he's from Africa. You know what I mean? Like we said before, we adding another African champ. Where he's from doesn't really matter because as soon as we get to a certain amount, they have no choice but to open an institution this side and to consider having fights this side. And then we can have more people like Cameron who are coming up, who don't feel the strain of a fight camp as much. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And get to actually fight on their terms and on their time zone, in their time zone and on their conditions, just like how other people get to have it. Like we have so many other fighters that are fighting out of Canada on this fight card.
Yep.
Yeah, no, look, and that's my main point. It's like Dricus is proving that you don't have to leave Africa to become one of the best in the world. 100%. You can achieve that here. It is 100% possible, and he's proving that.
Mm-hmm.
He'll be the first.
Our local scene is hot, bro.
Yeah, well, look, we need to come together to develop more, because unfortunately, A lot of the MMA industry in Africa is it hasn't been built up systematically the way that it should have been. There's not enough amateur organizations. There's not enough lower tier organizations for guys to fight and get good experience. And then also just the training conditions. Like there's not many gyms well equipped, not just equipment and space wise, but coaching wise.
Yep.
To get them to that level.
Yep.
Right. I mean, we need to just spend more time developing our fighters and developing our coaches in general. Just to, because Dricus is proving it now, but now it's on the rest of us to take their lead and now start building MMA up in Africa.
Sure, and I know we share on Dana a lot, huh? But what is done for the sport in general? The local scene wouldn't have gotten to where it is right now, where we get the likes of Dricus and them, if the UFC didn't grow to be what it is.
Mm.
You know what I mean? So
yeah.
I think an institute in South Africa, a performance institute in South Africa, is coming. It's obvious for me. Maybe Nigeria as well.
Yeah.
I think 2 in Africa.
Yeah, I think
you could
justify. Yeah, but I feel like that's not what we need yet. Like I feel like that's much further ahead. I think a lot of our athletes, it mostly comes down to education. We don't have enough quality coaches, or I don't want to insult people and say quality coaches, but we don't have enough big picture.
I'm sure there's a coach watching right now.
Yeah, look, people be upset.
Swearing like a motherfucker. Anyway,
can be upset
down.
Can be upset. Unfortunately, none of the guys are looking at the big picture. They're all looking at, okay, this is the way I do things. Not how do I make my guys perform at a world-class level. And that sort of mindset is very different than guys that are just like, oh, this is what works. You'll win fights like that. Because look, unfortunately, combat sports is not as big as it should be in Africa in general.
I hear you with all of that, but I need to also say, bro, the reason that I think we also don't have that caliber of coaching right now is because of what we just said about having an African champ and how important it is to have a champ in South Africa, because having someone to look at like Dricus Du Plessis as a kid, you now see it as a possibility to get to the UFC and do what he's done, right? So for me also, the thing is, a performance institute, from what I've gathered, and I could be wrong, they supply you with almost everything that you need, including food, supplements, and all of that stuff. From my experience, bro, a lot of getting fit and getting in shape and getting the endurance and all of that has to do with the diet. That's why a lot of these guys closer to the diet, to the fight, they have chefs in their houses cooking for them majority of the time, right? And living in this country, I can tell you, bro, food and supplements and even just paying for gym fees could be so much, just that stress alleviated of a person who thinks that they have the capabilities to get to the UFC or whatever high up organization is there at the time that they want to join. Those things really, really count towards that, bro. They really, really count. And I think that's why more than anything, it's so important that no pressure, but that Dricus brings that belt home, because it could open so many other doors. And I'm telling you, man, Ryan, correct me if I'm wrong. Tabang, correct me if I'm wrong.
Sure.
But especially me and you, Tabang, because Ryan's still got hopes and dreams, Doug. But like, bro, if we grew up with the knowledge that like a kid growing up now has in MMA and the UFC, and knowing what it takes to get there and all of that, it could have been a thought. You've
Yeah.
done karate, I'm sure, as
Yeah.
a kid at some point.
Yeah,
Because,
karate,
I mean,
kung fu, capoeira, bro. I've been kicking.
my point exactly, bro. Exactly. We do karate at a very young age, but
Sure.
we drift off away from it because we don't see a future in it, and we don't see money in it, and
100%.
we've never seen Van Damme and Jackie Chan were not from South Africa. You understand? So
Yeah.
who the hell do you think you are, right? So that's what I'm saying, man. It's really so important.
Now, to add to that,
So
just before you close it off, bro.
mhm.
I think South Africa needs to move away from the idea that sports are a part-time thing. We need to make sports an actual thing, where it's an actual vocation, an actual career, something that you can live out of. And to get there, I think structure, like Ryan was saying, right? If you don't get the infrastructure down, from the human resources to the actual gyms, then you're not gonna win, bro. And I think getting Dricus to get that belt over here helps that journey.
To close off the Dricus thing as well, I have to say I'm a bit disappointed in our sports and recreation or arts and culture what in this country, man. I mean, there's a lot that we could be doing for Dricus right now. I'm not seeing I'm not seeing a lot of billboards out there. This guy is doing something huge, and
Dude, you
they
swear it's
are
not fighting
just
for a belt,
sleeping on
bro.
it. Bro, man, like.
Yeah.
That part is very disappointing because we really should have a lot going on. I know people like organizations like MultiChoice. I don't know how true it was, but they're apparently gonna have closer commentary on during Dricus's fight. Yeah, there's gonna be an option for closer commentary and all of that. Not knowing how true that is, but if that is true, that's a great direction to be going right now. You know what I mean? To actually even integrate so many people into the sport. This is the chance. You don't bring in the country once the guy comes through with the belt and there's only 1,000 people at the airport. You bring them in now so that when he comes back, there's 10,000 people, whether he wins or not, bro. Honestly, for me, I wouldn't be any more disappointed if he didn't come back with the belt, because just making it that far is
No, he's put us on the map,
quite a
bro.
great feat. He's
Yeah,
put
he
us
put
on
us
the
on the
map
map.
big time.
That's it.